Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This, that, another. Well, what you see is what you get. We're expecting a bad storm here Wednesday, and it's supposed to come right through where I live. Not looking forward to that. Um, but I guess I'll ride it out here at the house with my dogs. Haven't been doing a whole lot. We're trying to work on that room. But when you live with chronic pain, it's really hard to do anything. And I try. People says you just got to make yourself do it. Well, when you can't make yourself do it, you can't make yourself do it. I mean, I'm in severe pain all the time, and nothing helps. I did a trial for pain stimulator. It worked. I seem to be able to walk better, and so October 12th, I'm gonna go have a permanent pain stimulator put in, and I hope it works. Lord knows I need relief. I've been doing some crocheting and trying to get back to living and just trying to get back to myself. It's hard. But here's some of the things, one of the things I've been working on, my little turtles. I have made several of these turtles, but they don't seem to come out pretty like anybody else's turtles. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. My dog wants it. He keeps looking at it, but I'm not going to give it to him. I might crochet him a bone. That's him barking at my feet now. But I thought I'd get on here and talk a little bit about dementia and what it's done to my life. My husband, we was married together 27 years. Great guy. But he always had this problem where he would just break out in an angry spat. I mean, and he says he couldn't control it. It just come on him. So I dealt with that for a long time, and he wouldn't get help. But then about 4 years ago, I noticed that he was doing strange things that he normally wouldn't do. I mean, he'd get in his truck and take off, and one night the state trooper called me and wanted to know if I knew him, and I said, yeah, it's my husband. He has dementia. And he said, well, we just caught him going down the wrong side of the road, and he wouldn't stop, so we had to shoot his tires out. He never really mentioned that incident very much, but one day I asked him, I said, what happened that night? And he said, well, the SBs put my face down in the dirt. I felt so sorry for him because he was a good guy. I mean, he would help anybody. He'd give you his shirt off his back. But things got worse as it went on. I'll never forget the day that he lay down and took a nap, and he woke up and he looked at me and he said, who am I? I said, what do you mean? And he said, who am I? I said, you're Eddie. He said, I can't remember who I am. And he went into a fit. He was down on the floor and he was lifting the couch up and down with one hand and crying. And I had to call help to come to him, and the cops came. It took 4 policemen to put him in handcuffs because he was whipping them. But he ended up in a cycle ward at that time, and I felt so sorry for him. We'd go see him, and he'd meet us at the door. And he just looked so lost, but he was on medication, and he was different. He was a good Eddie. I mean, he was good spirit, and things was different. And he said it was up to me when he went home, and I said, well, let's go home Sunday. That was 3 days later. And he said, well, why can't I go home today? So at the time, he had peppermint. He loved peppermint. And he was giving people peppermint there in the room where we was at. But the next day I did. I went and got him and brought him home. And from that day forth, he was never the same. He would get in his car and drive off 60 miles from home, get lost. They'd find him parked in front of businesses out of gas, and it was hard. It seemed like I was in a world by myself, and nobody knew what was going on. Nobody was helping me. with him. I took him to the doctor the first time, and the doctor said he had a mild case of dementia. There was nothing mild about this case of dementia, tell me. So when they have dementia, they will fight out. They fight at you. They fight at the person they love the most, but they don't know it's them. It's not them doing it, and you have to keep that in your head that that's not my Eddie. That's not him. But it's hard. It's hard to struggle. I mean, he got where he would sit and he would take a whole box of cakes, snack cakes, and bring them in the living room and sit at the table and build stuff out of them, like they were building blocks. And I got where I had to hide the lunch cakes because he was just wasting them, and he just didn't realize what he was doing. He wanted a bicycle, so I bought him a bicycle on Valentine's Day, and he started riding around here in the town, picking up cans for a hobby, something to do because he was retired. And he'd get on that bike and he'd get lost, and he'd call me, "You have to come get me. I can't get home." He'd be so hot when he come home that he would have muscle spasms, and they were so bad that he would just about go in fits. And what I'm trying to get over to people, that dementia is an evil disease. It takes your loved one away. You never get them back. And they do things that normally they don't do. And it's hard. He got where he just wanted to live in his own little world. Nobody bother him. Just sit and look. He watched TV a lot, but I don't know if he comprehended what was really on the TV. We had a little dog, Bella, and he loved Bella so much. And most of the time she was on the couch with him, and still today she looks up there looking for him. And I can feel his presence in this house. You might think it's crazy, but I can. I can feel his presence here. But